Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another day of Adobe Live. I'm Anna McNaught, and I am here with Gabriela Iancu. Gabriela, how are you doing today? Are you so excited for day two? I know I am.
Yes, totally. I'm so excited. We had so much fun yesterday creating all those cool cinemagraphs, and I'm so excited. Today we will have a look at After Effects and kind of apply some same techniques that we did yesterday, but trying to take leverage of the cool effects that After Effects has and bring some more images to life. But
Awesome.
yeah, before that, I just wanted to do a quick recap of the things that we've seen yesterday. I know people had so many questions about the techniques I used and about keyframes, about how to export cinemagraphs from Photoshop and then, upload to the internet. So let's have a quick look at the things that we've done yesterday. This was one of the files that we worked on, the spinning cookie. And as you saw yesterday, we utilize our timeline panel here in Photoshop that gives us access to a bunch of features that the layers panel here is not equipped to give you. So each time you are using video layers, it's best to use the timeline panel to have access to all these cool features. So we've seen that we can make use of the lens flare effect and animate the opacity feature with keyframes. So I know a lot of people had so many questions about this. What's a keyframe? So I just wanted to take a moment and explain this concept so it's much easier for people to understand and make use of it in their work.
Yes.
So,
Before you get into that, I'd love to hear about keyframes. I just want to welcome everyone into the chat first so we can see who's here and then
of course,
we'll dive right into it. So we have Cody Bear coming in as our chat moderator. We have Bruce back, David, all these people. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Gabriela today. And I want to encourage anyone who's over on YouTube to come over to behance.net/Adobe Live so that we can chat with you guys and you can ask Gabriela any questions. And before we get into things, let's just go through the schedule real quick so you can see what's going on for the rest of the day. All right, so at 11:30 we have the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge with Andrew. Then we have branding and identity design with Jen and Amy Hood from Hoodspud Designs. They're amazing. And XD Daily Creative Challenge with Andrea Draw along with Kyle Webster. And later at 3 o'clock Pacific time, the Creative Encore with Voodoo Val and Jetpack and Roller Skates. So full schedule for you guys today. Definitely tune in later this afternoon for some good things. And Gabriela, let's jump right in and get into those keyframes and everything you talked about yesterday so we can do a quick recap before we get into After Effects.
cool. Thank you so much, Hannah. So yeah, keyframe. So what's a keyframe? Basically, just to make it super easy for people to understand, it's some sort of marker. We have here a stopwatch that we can click, and once we click it, we have these keyframes that automatically appear on our timeline. So think about these keyframes as markers, anchors that you set at a specific point in time on your timeline to do a specific thing. And if we take our opacity as an example, we can animate it in a way that feels more dynamic. So we can gradually move from opacity 100 to maybe 20%, and we can see here the differences of how the opacity is reflected on our canvas over here. So I think keyframes are really a smart way of animating things that don't really move in Photoshop, like opacity. And they can create cool transparencies, and you can use the same with any type of effect that Photoshop makes available here in the filter gallery. So don't be too scared to try it. I think it's really a cool way of utilizing these features Photoshop has, and it's just bringing your image to life in a different way without the need to have like a separate video layer for it. Like in this case, we've seen yesterday with the lens flare. We created a lens flare here on the window, just creating that more light inside this room where everything was shot, and recreating that feeling of how everything was feeling when I shot it.
Yeah.
And the same concept we will use today in After Effects. So I think it's really important for you to understand how things work with keyframes. Another thing that I saw people were asking yesterday is how to export. Once you've done all these cool effects in Photoshop and you are so happy with, the looping techniques, with the lens flares and other things that you've applied to your image, how to export it. One easy way to do it is to use this small arrow that sits here at the bottom that says render video. If you just click on it, you'll have like a separate window opening. And you can name here your file. You can select where you want to be exported. You can choose what type of codec you will use. Typically, it's H.264, which is a widely used video codec on the internet and even broadcasting. You can select the quality, what type of size you want for it. We have some presets automatically made available by Photoshop, and even from Vimeo. If you want to export it directly there, you have these presets already built in. Otherwise, you can also specify your own size over here. Typically, I do like a full HD 1920 by 1080, depending the frame rate that you want to select. And over here, you have selected the work area. Typically, you would export just the work area, and the work area is the portion between these 2 points, the start point and an end point. This is called the work area. So between frame 25 and 125, I will export everything. If you want to set your own frames, you can do it so, or if you want the entire length of your layers, you can select this option as well. So it really depends on the things that you want to do with your file. And once you hit that, your file will be exported as an MP4 file. So you can use it on social media, even on your website. And then you're good to go, basically. So that's
Great.
one option.
This is so helpful. I know this is something that people ask me all the time, even just with photos, and to be able to see it with your video rendering is so incredible to know these techniques that you're using and to know exactly how you're exporting and just really helpful.
Yeah. So that's the first option that you can use. But let's say that you cannot use an MP4 file for whatever reason and you need a GIF file. Photoshop has, of course, an option for that. If you go to File, Export, you have this option here that says Save for Web, which is a legacy option. I'll try to click on it. Typically, it takes a while to see all the options right here. So we want to export this as a GIF file. We have this option right here. And then you will see the wheel spinning just because, Photoshop is trying to read the file again and see exactly what layers are going to be exported. And then everything will be exported into 56 colors. So you have a much smaller color palette versus the MP4 file, which is like full color. So be mindful of that. And again, here we have some options that allow us to resize the canvas if we want to. If we want to make this 600 by 600, we can make it. So the export file would be much smaller. And then one option that you shouldn't forget to set is looping options, which should be set to forever because you want your GIF file to constantly loop once it is exported. So don't forget about this. Mine, it's already set forever because I've used this option in the past. And then you have the option to save it. I'm not going to do it. Oh, here we have it. Eventually it opened. So you see the number of colors we have right here. Some colors will start to break. I don't know if it's visible on the stream, but the color starts to become a bit fuzzy. So just keep in mind that the GIF format is not a very smooth format. It's not gonna look super high quality, especially if you want to make it like a large file. So the best is to downsize your file size just to not have those artifacts too much visible once you export it. And these are the two options that we've got here in Photoshop to export. I think both of them are quite easy, and depending on what type of file you need, you can use them.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Definitely very helpful. People in the chat are liking that too. Maya says this is great information for those of us who want to branch into Photoshop.
Exactly. Sounds good. All right. So if we don't have any other questions regarding the stuff we did yesterday, let's just quickly have a look at what I'm planning for today with After Effects. So look at this image, Anna. I have this gorgeous image that I shot some time ago. Initially, I shot this trying to make it a cinemagraph, but I never had the time to actually sit down and create the cinemagraph, bring all these beautiful elements to life. So I gave up on that and just made this a static photograph. And today I was thinking, it's gonna be really cool to see how we can bring it to life and breathe some life into it, basically.
Yeah, this is absolutely beautiful. I'm very curious to know how you got the butterflies in there and the lighting. It's so spectacular.
Yeah, I think it feels very esoteric, very mysterious. And these are just a small quantity of the props I have. I have like a small cabinet of curiosities at home in my studio with all sorts of small insects and butterflies and, a lot of glass. We see here again some glass bottles. Like yesterday, I really love these transparencies they have, this glass dome. So I would say that, this image kind of represents my universe. I like to be surrounded by natural elements. I really love flowers. So I think this is kind of the meaning behind this photograph.
Yeah. So, question for you, this image that we're seeing right here, have you already manipulated this and added some elements, or is this from your camera?
Yes, it's already manipulated.
Okay.
I think I've used around 5 plates, 5 sections, 5 different other images to composite this final image, just because I wanted to move things around and I didn't have like enough butterflies and stuff like that. So I was like moving it and shooting different sections and then bringing everything together in Photoshop. And then manipulating the light as well a little bit. This was shot with studio lights, and I wanted the overall scene to feel a bit dark, but at the same time have some, light to it, some contrast, and make the colors pop in a way that looks really nice.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, so I think the image has a lot of potential for, animation. And my plan for today is to, okay, I will show you a high resolution of the same file. Let's see. I really like these water droplets, this condensation that's on the glass dome. I think we can animate this in a cool way. I have some footage that I shot of the same scene when I, took the photograph, and I was planning to make this a cinemagraph. So today we're gonna see how we can bring this to life. Then the glass dome itself, I think it's so beautiful, and I want to add some light reflection on it. But I don't have any footage for that. So we are going to have a look at the effects available in After Effects that can help us achieve that shine and bring it to life really nicely. Then I think we can animate the butterflies, which are really beautiful.
Yes.
And, utilize again some effects that we have here in the gallery to make that happen. So I think it's really exciting, the plan for today. And if anyone in the chat has any questions or ideas for us how we can animate more stuff, of course, we are very open to it.
Yes, exactly. Ask away. And Gabriela will be answering all of your questions about Cinemagraphs in After Effects.
Yes. So let's get to work. So I have here, for those of you that are not quite familiar with After Effects, again, we have a timeline, very similar to Photoshop. It just looks, a bit different. And we have layers. So After Effects works in a similar way with Photoshop, with layers and properties and adjustment layers. So the first layer that I have right here is the image. You see it's JPEG. And we have this little eye here that's like toggling it on and off. So I will start my composition with having the images at the base, the same way as we did yesterday, and then kind of dropping in all the footage that I have and that I will mask, and we'll make it work in a way that doesn't feel forced. So let's see. All right, so this is the first part of the footage that I want to use. It looks a bit dark, and I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, let me just take this off. So when I'm shooting video, I'm trying to shoot everything to look as flat as possible. I'm using the Technicolor color profile in my camera, so everything looks really flat. You see the colors very desaturated. I'm using this process just because I want to be able to edit the colors and brightness and shadows much better on my computer. So I don't want my camera to do that for me. I want to do that myself in the computer. So think about this in a similar way of how you would shoot RAW for your images, and then you would use Lightroom to make all the adjustments you want without distracting the image too much. So that's why I'm shooting everything very flat. And then once I bring my footage into After Effects, there are a couple of things that you can do to bring it back to life. So you can see the colors and then do color correction, color grading, and everything you need to match that, that footage to your still image. It's very similar to Photoshop in some sense. So let's have a look at how I'm doing that. I'm not going to get into much detail. I'm just going to show you basically what I'm doing so you understand why, it kind of looks, so different, and there is so much difference between, the image itself and the video part. And of course, don't forget the image has been edited in a way that, all the colors are final. We have all these beautiful cool blue hues that kind of overtake the whole image. So we will try to do the same with the video part.
Yeah,
So,
this is really cool. I love seeing the light coming in just in the way you did your video, just kind of seeing how you started out. You can see the way it's reflecting off the greens and the way it's kind of hidden in there like a little rainforest.
yeah, exactly. That was kind of my point, because I really love to be surrounded by these natural elements and flowers and all sorts of, leaves and moss and, insects. So I wanted to recreate my universe in a way that feels like really creative.
Yeah.
Okay, so after I've dragged and dropped my footage inside my composition right here, basically what I'm doing, I'm applying a lookup table, which is basically just trying to bring back the colors that the camera was seeing for me to allow to, make the color adjustments I need. After that, I'm typically using the Lumetri color effect. That's basically some sort of Lightroom for videos in After Effects. So if you can see here, we have a tab that says basic correction, white balance, exposure, contrast. So this looks very familiar with Lightroom or Camera Raw in Photoshop. So don't be too scared when you see all these options. They are not so scary. And so basically, I'm adjusting all these options in a way that brings the portion of video that I want to stitch with my still image. It brings them closer. So this looks a bit too crazy right now. It's just because I'm not trying to color correct the entire portion of the video. I'm just trying to color correct the portion of the video that will be stitched with the still image. So let me show you. So we have this entire area here, I don't want to use it all. So I'm just gonna use my pen tool to do a quick mask. I'm not gonna care too much about the shape right now. And boom, we have the first preview of how the video layer looks together with the image. Okay, let me zoom in really quick. So the pen tool, probably you guys are familiar with how it works from Photoshop or Illustrator. I think it's a really cool tool to use, especially in After Effects, since we don't typically use the brush to mask things as in Photoshop. So we have this mask layer that automatically appears right here. And this will give us some options to manipulate it in a way that feels a bit more, organic. Right now we have like very hard edges. It kind of looks like, oh my God, these are not aligned, and we need to fix that. So first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to align these two. As you can see, the bottle is not really aligned. And this will be the portion of the video that actually has the water droplets. And if I'm playing it, let's see. Again, this, as we saw yesterday in Photoshop, the tool takes its time to read the file. It's real time, and, it feels like it's moving slowly, but it's just, taking the time to read what information we have inside this file. So don't get too frustrated by the slowness. It's just normal.
Oh yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, so we see the water here. All right. So you see it starts somewhere right here and then it ends here at the bottom. So I think what we need to do, one, would be to align the two layers. So let's just take the bottle itself as reference. And it's just drag and drop. Kind of looks like they are aligned. And of course, we can take as reference the flower as well, this rose. But I think the bottle is good for now. Let's see. And then we don't need to have all this area masked. So I'm gonna try to make it smaller and just, have visible just the portion of the video that has the actual droplet. All right, so again, it's very easy to work with masks in After Effects.
Yeah, much easier than I even thought.
Yeah, so let's see. Let's move this at the beginning and see. I think it's important, especially with water, to see what's the starting point. When it's the droplet starting to go down, so we don't cut the footage too early. So I think it starts right about here. So I'm just gonna move this a little bit down. Let's see. And again, I don't want to leave the footage on, to make it too wide, the mask. I don't want the mask to be too wide, because if it's too wide, then we will have all these pixels moving that are not really doing anything, especially since we have this beautiful, still image that's having everything it needs. So we don't need to cover with footage all this area. We just need to make it visible in that portion of the footage that's actually, useful for us. So let's see, slowly coming down. Okay, so again, the edges are kind of too hard. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look like, this is coming together nicely. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the options we have here for the mask, and I'm just gonna feather the edges so we have more blending between the still image and the video part.
Oh yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah. This is like, if you think in terms of Photoshop, it's using the brush and, having the opacity turned down and, painting with the brush in a way that's, making everything blend nicely. So this is the same that's happening right here. We just have to be careful about where the margins of the mask start, because it's kind of overthinking the droplet. So let's just extend this a little bit. Oh, okay, so now we see it. Let's see, let's give it a few seconds for it to load. And again, you know, as in Photoshop yesterday, we have to be patient with all these layers that we work with. Sometimes they take their time to load, and it's just like the entire process, it's very meditative in a way. So be patient, don't get frustrated too early.
Keywords.
Yeah. It's like you cannot, if you expect that, oh, I'm just gonna sit down and in 10 minutes I will have my first Cinemagraph. Don't think like that. You have to sit down and take your time and just have realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can see it right now, and it's going down. And I think now it's the perfect time to work on our loop as well. So for me, I think I like it to do it at the same time when I'm doing the masking, just because I can see how the mask blends with the still image, and then I can, you know, make better judgment in terms of, you know, where I will do the hard cut for my footage and, you know, where the two will meet together. So I see that, oops, yeah, it's saving. It's auto-save just because, you know, I've lost my work so many times.
Yeah. Cody Bear just announced that. Don't forget to save your work.
Yeah. So we see that the droplet is kind of ending right here. But I think if we extend this just a little bit, it will just disappear by itself. So sometimes, you know, just watch your footage and see what it does. It might save you hard work that's not necessarily, you know, needed. So look at this, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And I think I will, let's see if I will bring this up a little. And again, because we did this feathering, you know, things are really fuzzy on the edges. So some details might get lost. So, you know, don't take this slider for the feathering too far away, because it might make things disappear and then you might not see the effect altogether. So let's see right here. Okay, almost there. Playing again. I don't know. I still not very happy. I think the end. And the way how you manipulate cutting layers in After Effects, it's a bit different than you would do it in Premiere. In Premiere, you have like hard cut tool that's, you know, you press C on your keyboard and you have like little slicer that's slicing it. Here, you do it a bit differently. You can just drag it, and if you drag it, you know, it's basically like cutting it. So if you need to cut it and you wonder, well, where is the scissors or where is the slicer, you know, this is how you do it in After Effects. So I'm just gonna drag the start point and move my entire layer and see if this will look better. Let's see.
And are you able to split the clip if you needed to?
Yeah, you can split it. For splitting, you use Shift Command D.
Okay.
And boom, it's split it. So you have to have the layer selected, then Shift Command D. And then you have two portions.
Cool.
Yeah, this is very helpful if you need to do the cross dissolve or fading two layers together. So I think it's pretty good where it is right now. Yeah, if we watch it again, I think it's almost there.
Bruce is asking if the water drop is in effect within After Effects. It's a video you filmed, isn't it? Or
yeah, it's a video, a shot of the same scene. As I mentioned initially, I was planning for this shot to become a Cinemagraph. I just didn't have time to actually do it, and I was thinking that today we can do it together. So I just had the final version of the still image, but I've never gotten the time to actually do the Cinemagraph part. So the image was planned to be a cinemagraph. So when I shot everything, I knew that, oh, I wanted the water to be, dropping down. And so that's why I have the footage. But I also have parts of the image that I want to animate and I don't have any footage for it. So we will see a bit later on in the process how we can use the effects right here in After Effects, sorry, to make that happen. So if you don't have footage for some, parts of the image that you would like to animate, there is always a way to do it in a cool way.
Yeah.
All right. So another thing that it's good to use in After Effects as well, it's sharpening. And I have this effect right here. It's off right now, but I'm just gonna activate it. Just because with all the feathering and masking, things kind of start to look fuzzy. So I like to do like 30% on the video layer after I do all my final, masking, just to bring things together. And now it kind of looks like it belongs. You don't really see any big difference. I mean, there is some difference, I can see it, but it's like so faint that if you wouldn't know about it, you wouldn't notice it. And that's why I edited my video layer in a way that if you would see it without the mask, like right here, it's like, oh my God, it's so dark. Why these, leaves here and roses are not visible? It's because I edited for this specific area. I wanted this one to merge really nicely with the still image. So that's why. So when you edit your video, if you are, shooting flat, or if you want to manipulate it in a way that feels like cohesive, think about small portions of your footage and how you can incorporate those into the final image. And for those of you asking or wondering where the effects are in After Effects, there is this panel here called Effects and Presets, and you can search here any type of effect that you think you need, and you can find it, like lumetri. Like if I just type here lumetri, you'll find it under color correction. Sharpen does the same, so we have here the options. So basically After Effects has so many effects that you just need time to sit down and explore everything it's inside here. It's really such a great opportunity to make everything look like really professional.
Yeah.
All right, and for this piece of footage, I also use the warp stabilizer. I think it's a cool way just to make everything look very still. I was not really touching my camera when I shot this, so everything was looking pretty steady, but I really wanted to make sure that, there is no movement whatsoever outside of, the water that's, making my camera shake. So I wanted to be sure that everything looks super steady. So I use also this effect right here. And, as I will go, I will move forward, you'll see that I will use the same effects for the other layers. So once you have this locked in for your first layer, then you can just copy and paste and you are good to go. All right. So right now we have this these droplets kind of locked in. I really like it. So let's see, once again, let's zoom out. Look, I think it's really beautiful how it's coming down. And this will, bring so much life to the whole image. It's just the whole vibe that, as you said, like a tropical forest, everything is like humid and maybe it's hot in there and you have this condensation on the glass. So I think it's, a cool way to bring that to life. All right, let's see another layer. Oops. So I was thinking that, we have all these Spanish moss over here, and over here that I would really love to see how we can animate. And I have shot some footage. Again, I have the same scene, and you'll see that you know, all 3 layers have basically the same elements into it. It's just like different parts move. So this one right here, it has the Spanish moss that moves. And I will make again a quick mask. Let's see. And then I think, you know, that's so easy and quick in After Effects. You just take your pen and you draw your mask, and then boom, you have it. But in case that, you know, maybe your After Effects is not, you know, showing your mask, just go onto your layer and check if the mask is right here and make sure that the blending mode it's add. So you are able to see it. If you feel like, oh my God, I did a mask, but I don't see it, where is it? Just check the options here. It's really easy.
That's a great tip. I feel like there's so many little things that can happen in these programs, or something's hidden, or you don't see your mask, or it's not showing up. And just those little tiny tips of check here, check there, it's always helpful.
Yeah. And another tip, in case you don't see the mask at all, you see that you drew it. Like you can see here that, oh, I have it right here, but where are the outlines? There is this little, you know, button right here that says toggle mask and shape path visibility. So if you have it, you know, by mistake, you clicked on it and you didn't know what it's doing, and then you don't see your outlines, you know, check it. Because I was like freaking out one day, where is everything? Where is, and then I was like, oh my God, yeah, this is off. That's why. So yeah, just, you know, don't despair when things happen. All right, so we'll do the same thing, feathering. And I think we need to align this as well. Yesterday we did the same thing in Photoshop. So especially with things that move, you want your video layer. I mean, don't be scared to move your video layer. You move it to make sense with the final still image. So you don't want to be restrained to the original position of elements. Right now, like this is how originally this was positioned, but I don't need it in this place, just because if you see here this sprigs, they are like kind of aligning right here. So I'm just gonna move my layer in the way that makes the most sense with what I'm trying to do. And then again with the mask, you can play. You can use the handles just to extend your area. And let's see, let's have a look.
That's cool.
And I think you kind of see the difference in color. Like this looks so desaturated and flat and doesn't really match the vivid color of everything around. That's because I don't have any color grading applied to this layer. So a cool way to do that really quickly, I'm just gonna go on my first video layer and I'm just gonna copy these three effects and just copy paste. But we see that it's kind of dark, so we can, you know, go into this Lumetri color panel right here and see how we can make this just a bit more subtle. And we have all sorts of, you know, options right here. I have an effect apply here that's making everything pop more. We have also this faded film adjustment that's making everything look a bit more matte, I think. Like it gives that film look. So let's just increase this a little bit. And I think it's already starting to, you know, come together. You see?
Yeah, it's already looking like it blends better.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's a matter, you know, when working in After Effects, it's a matter of adjusting different type of effects and making them work together. So it's a lot of options that you have right here that you have to explore. So, you know, take your time working your way into discovering everything that After Effects has. And this is like really slowly moving. You don't want to have elements that, you know, kind of fly off your canvas. So when you are shooting your, you know, video element, just think about, you know, you want things to slowly move. You don't want to have things to that move too quickly. the movement should be minimal, really, because you don't want that to overtake the whole scene. Oh, this is really nice.
It's bringing back some Savannah vibes for me with the Spanish moss. It's so cool.
That's right. I think somewhere, like, because I was, studying with Gad in Savannah, and I was doing so many cool projects over there. I think when I shot this, I was thinking about that beautiful, lush green parks they have right there, and somehow I wanted to incorporate that as well, and just feels so summery and.
Yep. Yeah, I was just going to say, you can definitely feel it. I can feel like the warmth of this image, even though it's cool tones. You feel like the warm air and the heat and the mist hitting your face. It's so nice.
Exactly. And, like yesterday we were talking about how my images and your images are kind of on the blue side. And yesterday we were seeing some much warmer options that I created, but today we are back to blue. So I feel like I cannot get away. I just love it so much. And it feels like it's so calming when you look at the whole scene, and the colors pop up so nicely. And we have all these complementary colors, red and green and blue and orange. So I think it's when you guys really sit down and make your imagery, think about how you can utilize colors to tell your story. I think that's one of the big things that you can do with photography, and then you can leverage if you want to create cinemagraphs at the end.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so I really like it. I can still see that right here, like if I am to zoom, like things kind of don't really match right here. So I think it's just a matter of how we can make this. Let's look at the mask. This is 61. I think maybe it's a bit too much.
I see a few people popping into the chat. If you're just joining us, Gabriela is working on an After Effects Cinemagraph, and it's looking absolutely beautiful. It's just some subtle motion within here. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to go over to behance.net/Adobe Live and say hi to us. We definitely would love to hear from you.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited for this one. Hopefully people in the chat are excited as well. And I don't know if you guys perceive this, but this layer, it's not stabilized. So if you closely look at this when I'm playing it, it kind of like jumps out of the frame just a tiny bit. I don't know if it's noticeable on your end, but I kind of see it, so I know that probably that's gonna be too visible when I'm exporting this. So that's why it's always a good idea to stabilize your footage, just to make sure that things don't, jump up and down inside your masks or inside your frame. I'm not gonna do it now live because it takes like a couple of seconds to analyze the whole, footage. So just something to think about when you are getting started with Cinemagraphs and you want to have everything run really smoothly. So look at this, Anna. Already I think it's coming together nicely.
I agree.
I think we can still make this somewhat lighter. It feels like a bit too dark. And like when you shoot this, when you shoot your video, just think about, like, if you know that you're gonna shoot this, think about how you can light it in a way that's maybe not too bright or not too dark, because you want at the end everything to come together nicely. So I think I had a reflector on this when I shot it, and then the light that's coming from behind is really, helping with defining the Spanish moss a little bit more. We see that there is some light catching over here. Yeah, I really like it. Let's have a closer look.
So is there a way in After Effects to be able to kind of smooth the edges other than the way you feathered the mask? Can you actually go in and paint with like a lower opacity brush the way you can in Photoshop? Or is it just kind of, this is your mask, blur it, change it?
This is your mask. We can always use the roto brush, but this is not actually painting in the same way as we do it in Photoshop. It's actually kind of taking your element out of context and then you can move it anywhere inside your frame. So if we are thinking about the spinning cookie that we saw yesterday, you would create an outline with a roto brush, and then once that selection it's final, you can take the cookie and move it anywhere inside your frame. So from that perspective, I think the roto brush is really very helpful, but it's not working the same way as, you know, the brush we have in Photoshop. So I would say that, you know, the only way to do like the selection would be with the mask. And I think
Gotcha.
masks are really helpful because they are not taking up much space, and it's really easy to just draw them. And then you can also use this expansion that it's right here, that's expanding your mask. So if I'm doing it right now, you kind of see that the mask it's overtaking. You
Oh,
see?
yeah.
So sometimes it's a mixture of playing with the feather option and the expansion in a way that's, you know, making sense for that portion you're trying to blend. Sometimes adding more points and manipulating them, like, oh, maybe I feel like right here, um, I need this butterfly to blend a bit more. I will add a point. Then I will add another point over here. Like, you can add as many points you need, and you can use the handles to, you know, shape your mask in a way that's blending everything nicely. And especially with leaves, I think that's very tough because you don't know how things will move, right? So maybe when you start your, you know, your video layer right here, it feels like everything is aligning, but then as it moves, things kind of start to shift. So I think it's always like a lot of work to, you know, kind of find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like right here, things kind of start to not blend too nicely. Let me just zoom in. It's like, you see, the leaf is kind of starting to break just because we did, you know, all the feathering and expansion. So it's up to you. Either expand it, so then maybe you find a way that, you know, it blends nicely, or you maybe retract it like this. So, you know, it's how you can hide these things. It's just a matter of, you know, maybe cheating in a way because you want your mask to reveal and hide at the same time things that um, that you want. So look at this, like, look at the shape.
It's always fun to see what shape your
Yeah,
mask
yeah.
makes.
So I think like it's like the place we are right now. It looks really nicely. I like it. It's really subtle. It's not overtaking the scene. And I think that's one of the things you want your cinemagraphs to do. You don't want them to be in your face. You want to hold your attention. You don't want to grab anyone's attention. It's like, if it's in your face, you'll see it once and that's it. You don't discover it. You don't experience it. So I think that's why it's important to think about how you can make this more subtle. Like right here, like this is barely moving. Like,
I
so
think that's really the beauty of your work is you're so good at making it so subtle that you have to spend more time looking at it, which just in itself, you know, gives you more of an experience with the photo.
exactly, that's right. All right, cool. Okay, so now I'm thinking to spice up things a little bit and see how we can apply some shine to this beautiful glass dome. And I don't have any footage for that. I really don't have anything. I thought about doing it after the fact, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna set up the whole scene again just for lighting this dome. So maybe there is a way in After Effects to do it. And of course there is. There is always a way. Just have to think about it. So let's use some layers. And I think everyone loves layers, especially in Photoshop. Like, you can make so many adjustment layers. And we have the same concept here in After Effects. If you go over to Layer, New, and then Adjustment Layer, there is also a shortcut for that. After Effects creates a layer for you. I'm just going to move it up. Let's see. And let's see what light effects After Effects has. Let's just type light. Okay, probably this gave it away already. So we have light rays, And then we have lens flare, exactly the same effect we saw yesterday. So let's see, I think we can use for the dome a light ray, and for this other glass recipient over here, the lens flare. So we're gonna use two different effects. So let's start with the light ray. So once you find it in your gallery, you just drag and drop it onto your layer. It's so easy. And automatically you get a point here. And that's the point of light that you can manipulate, move it around your canvas and place it anywhere you want to give that light shine. And maybe actually, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking like I see this light here and the point was just automatically placed here. I'm thinking, why not fake that this light was actually moving here? Like, you know, the leaves were moving, so the light rays were kind of moving as well. So let's just see that before getting into the dome. And by default, we get the intensity set to 100. I think that's a bit too much. So let's slide it down, and you see like it's going slowly down. Again, we want to make something really subtle. So let's move the playhead over here. Let's move it at the beginning of the layer. I'm just gonna open the effects. Right here, we see the same light effect. We see it over here, and we get the same preview of it over here in the timeline as well. I'm just gonna drag this up. And we're gonna use keyframes again. And I think in After Effects, it's all about keyframes because we have so much flexibility in animating these effects, and we can move these points anywhere we want. Whereas in Photoshop, the point itself was static. We couldn't move it. We just could change the opacity maybe, and maybe that's it. But here in After Effects, we can do so much more. So let's see. So we have the initial point set right here because this is like our light source, the sun. And we want to animate two things. We want to animate the position, right? And then maybe we want to animate the intensity. So for this, I'm clicking the stopwatch. This means that I'm like activating the effect. So I want from here on, from this point towards the end, to change the values in a way that, you know, makes sense for the composition. So we are starting at 27% with these coordinates. Maybe later on we want to animate the radius as well. I don't know yet. Let's just see how this works. I'm just gonna move my playhead to the next position. So typically I'm doing like beginning and then middle, just so that, you know, the effect feels like it's looping seamlessly. So right here, I'm gonna change, let's move the point. We can take our cursor and move it, or we can use also the sliders over here and it's gonna move. Depends on the way that you want to do it. Let's just move it upwards slightly, and then maybe increase the intensity. So maybe let's do 40. Let's see how this goes. And it's gonna be subtle. You can increase it at any time. You can go back and change it. It's not like set in stone or anything. Let's see. Okay, let me zoom out so we have this. It's kind of like starting to become more visible. Let's see, maybe over here at 3 seconds, I'm gonna do a bit more, maybe 60. Then I'm gonna move this more like this. And then you can always copy your keyframes. So if I'm just selecting these initial frames, just Command C and then put it at the end. Boom, we have the exact same coordinate. So we know that this effect will seamlessly loop. So let's just play it. Let's see. So it's kind of like making a subtle change. Is not very big. You kind of see like, you know, the sun itself is like going bigger and smaller, and it's casting a nice shine around the whole area over here. Let me zoom in so we can see it. You see, like, boom.
Oh yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah, And it's like really subtle, and you can always go back and, oh, I want to move this over here, it doesn't make sense. So you can always come back and make changes. Then we can always increase the radius if I'm setting the stopwatch for this as well. Just like I want the light to cover a wider area, so I'm increasing this radius. And then maybe I want this to become smaller, or anything that makes sense for your scene. And then when you play it again, it's like you feel like it feels more, the scene gets more light at the end, so it doesn't feel as dark. You see, it's like slowly
it's looking
feeling
nice.
So this is a way of bringing more life into your scene. It's not set in stone, and I think it's a really clever way to use the effects we have right here. And it's just working so beautifully with the whole idea of like how the light rays were initially edited inside the still frame. Beautiful. All right.
Love it.
Okay, so now let's try to do light. Let's see. We have so many light effects right here. I'm thinking maybe a light sweep. Let's see.
Ooh.
And you can apply as many effects you want to a layer. You don't have to create an adjustment layer for every effect. You can if you want, but for now, let's just keep both effects on the same layer. So we have the light rays over here, and then we have the light sweep. All right, so the light sweep, as you can see, it's creating this very cool effect. And I want to use this in a way, let's see how we can use this for the glass dome. I want this maybe to look like it's straight. So the light will come from left to right, swipe the entire area of the glass dome and, create that volume. And, the transparency will be more visible, because right now it feels like it kind of gets lost with everything happening around. So let's just put this at 0. There is no degree of direction. Shape maybe smooth. We want, yeah, this is nice. Okay. And I want this much slimmer. I don't want it to be that wide. What else? And with effects in After Effects, it's like always like such a play. You have to discover, like, you don't know what this option does. Oh, let's try it out and see if it makes sense to have it or not. So
Yeah.
you never know about it until you actually get to work with that particular effect. So
I think that's the fun of it. That's how you learn. That's how you discover new things, new effects.
yeah. So let's see. And just because, automatically this effect, it's applied to the entire area, I think we can use a mask for it. So maybe I'm just going to move this on a separate layer right now. Just create another one. Let's say light sweep. Okay, and with this onto here again, copy paste. I'm going to delete it from over here. And I'm going to create a mask that's going to hold this effect. So make sure that your layer is selected. If you don't select it, then you'll create a shape layer. So just make sure that you are creating the mask on the layer. Just gonna draw the shape of the dome. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can always go back, but let's see. I love the pen tool. I think it's such a cool way to, make selections and have everything like neat. Let's see.
Yeah, it's a very powerful tool. I feel like most people either love it or hate it.
I know. And, especially in Photoshop, because sometimes you need to make like very precise selection. It's so cool to have it there available.
Yeah.
That's how I started to love it, because at the beginning I didn't love it either. So
Yeah, more
with the
power to you. I still have not started to love the pen tool yet, but
Oh, you will. Eventually, you will. It's like, you'll get an opportunity to work on those, projects that require it, and then you will work so much with it that eventually you'll say, "Oh, actually, I love it. Why I was
yeah.
scared of." So right now we have the light sweep effect contained inside our mask. We can see the mask over here. So that's such a cool way to, apply effects to specific areas. And now we're going to animate the options we have right here. So of course, the position and okay, maybe the intensity. Let's see. So I'm gonna open this right here. I want this to start over here. So we have to think about this effect in terms of the volume. So somehow we have to fake that effect, is sweeping across the volume. So the volume is, more visible. So we have to start maybe somewhere right here, right? Maybe right here. And it's too much right now. 25% is too much. I will start with 5. It's slowly appearing and disappearing, so we don't want to see it like in your face. It's not gonna be in your face, it's gonna be very subtle. So let's see. So we started at 5. Maybe I want to make this here, no, maybe 10. Let's say 10, and then I'm gonna move this right here. So you see, these things, you couldn't do it in Photoshop. You couldn't move the point from, A to B. So that's so cool about After Effects, because you can, move the effects anywhere you want them. And it's already kind of visible. Like you see, it's like, you see moving. And then let's say over here, maybe the point already reaches the middle section. And maybe right here is, I don't know, 13%. So it's a bit more intense. Then as we move towards the side, it's going a bit down. I think here is the most bright spot. So maybe we should put like 15% over here. So you always have to think in terms of what would this effect look in real life? Does it make sense or not?
Right.
And then maybe we want this to start to disappear. So maybe we move this 5% and move it here, or maybe somewhere here. And then the last keyframe would be this kind of moving out of the frame, maybe at 0%. Okay, let's see how this looks. I'm gonna play it. Yeah, this is beautiful. And
I
this will
love
have
that.
this will help with the water over here as well, because it's gonna pop more. All right, almost there. Okay, so now it's playing real life. Look, it's beautiful. I think it's coming alive so much with this effect. Like, look at this from afar.
It really is.
And this is a nice way of doing it without the need of an actual, clip of you lighting the dome in the behind the
Right.
scenes. And I think it's much more doable, because I don't know if you were to do it like on the actual scene, probably you will get like reflections everywhere. So like this, it's a more controlled way of doing it here in After Effects. And again, like if you feel like, oh, maybe it's a bit too much, maybe it's not realistic enough, I feel like right here, maybe it shouldn't be as bright right here. You want this to kind of blend nicely with the actual, image. So like, again, like move the points anywhere they make sense. Like, I think that's the secret to making everything look alive when it isn't,
Yeah. So beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, this is the secret of After Effects, like how you can
Yeah.
use light sweep And I think I was so lucky with having this glass dome here, and I was looking at it and I was like, I want to make something with it, like making it pop more. And then I was like, why not use some sort of light reflection? And look at it, it's coming out so nicely. And we still have the light over here that's kind of making some reflection as well. If you decide not to like it at the end, you can, go back to your adjustment layer and turn it off. You can keep it there whenever you feel like going back to it. And that's so cool about After Effects. You can keep stuff on your timeline and not really think about if you want to have them in the final export or not. All right. Let's do another layer.
So Bruce is asking if you were intimidated by After Effects when you first started, or did you just dive in?
Oh yeah, I was so intimidated. I was so freaked out. I didn't really like it. I was like so many options, like so many sections and panels. What is this all about? And then I got to work on one of those projects that really required me to do things much faster. And After Effects is so robust, especially with video layers. You can, incorporate motion in more flexible ways than you can with Photoshop, just because Photoshop it's, catered towards, imagery, digital imaging, whereas, After Effects it's animation and video stuff. So of course, if you want to take full advantage of, everything you've shot video wise, you have to use After Effects. So I started slowly with things like, oh, maybe I can do my looping techniques here in After Effects and see how that goes. And once I realized that, oh my god, it's so much easier and I can do so much stuff with it, I was like, okay, let me try. And then like slowly I transitioned from Photoshop to After Effects with my Cinemagraphs, and I was so happy with the end results. I feel like I was getting so much more out of the footage that I was shooting, and the quality of the final Cinemagraphs was so much better.
Yeah. So is it something you taught yourself, or did you take courses or watch YouTube? How did you learn?
Yeah, I kind of taught it myself just because I was already familiar with Premiere, and then some of the features kind of made sense. And I think Adobe has done such a great job at, seamlessly moving some feature from all these tools. Like we have nice features that we love in Photoshop, and then we find them in After Effects as well. Or we really love Premiere, and then we have some, Premiere features in here as well. So I think that was really helpful just because I was familiar with the way how the entire creative suite works. So it wasn't such a big transition. It was just a matter of, getting myself used to the new workflow. Like I have to do it every day. And then the more you practice, the more you fall in love with the features, and you are like curious, oh my God, what does this effect do? And then you start to do it, and then you are like so surprised with the results. And it's like, why I was not using this much earlier,
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
don't be intimidated. Just start to use it and see how you can, start slowly with, one image or some piece of footage you have, and see what you can do with it. Can you make it look much better? Can you take it somewhere else and make it, a bit more creative? And I think all these tools we have today, they help us so much to create so many creative, outcomes. So that's really lovely about everything we have. So yeah.
Love it.
Just do it.
Yes. Best advice ever. Just do it.
Yeah. All right. So let's see the lens flare because we've used it yesterday. So maybe we can make use of it today as well. Oh, look at this.
Whoa.
So yeah, so I want to use this for some of the glass we have here behind, but let's just change the settings a little bit, and let's see some sort of light that looks a bit more white, like this one. And the settings here really look very similar to what we've seen yesterday in Photoshop. We have the lens type that's creating different sort of lens flare. And then we have, of course, the brightness, how bright we want this to be. Yesterday, when we used this effect in Photoshop, we couldn't move the point, but today we can, and we can, make it move across, the axis. and we can make it be anything we want it to be. So let's see. Let's rename this layer lens flare. I like to keep my layers organized, and especially in After Effects, since it's so easy to create all of this stuff, try to keep it labeled, because then you don't know which one is which one, so it's hard at the end.
Yeah.
Again, we will animate the center, the direction, and then the brightness. So I'm just gonna set the stopwatch for these two parameters. I'm gonna open the effect right here and see. Like right now, I feel like it's too bright. So originally we had these two bright spots here on the glass. So I want to bring that to life a little bit more with this effect. So I'm just gonna maybe make this at 13%. Okay. And then, okay, let me zoom in. Maybe I want to move it as well, just slightly, not much, because then it wouldn't make too much sense. Why would this point move, right? So let's just put this over here and maybe decrease this a little bit. Oh, too much. All right, let's see. So it's like very slightly moving, and you might think that, oh, it's not really doing much, but you don't want it to do too much. You know, you want it to have this barely there. So look at it. Let's look overall. It's not so visible, but I like it. It's just, you know, kind of bring it the lightness back to this point. So if I'm like deactivating it and activating it, it's just like defining the volume a bit more, I feel like. So then you can move again. Maybe I will copy the same. I want this to repeat twice. So let's say I want this to end like this. I copy it and then moved it here. So now we have equal intervals where this will like move and change intensity. So again, with keyframes, you can achieve seamless loops so much easier than with actual footage, just because you have control over the values and the way how you move things. Okay, let's see. Oh, I know what is this. So let's just move this a bit here. Let me zoom out and see.
I'm so intrigued watching all of this and seeing the little tiny details start to show up.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with glass, I really love glass, and I think it's such a smart way to kind of fake your way into animating still imagery, just because of the transparencies, and there is so much more you can do with it than with, you know, leaves. Let's say leaves can only kind of move and that's it, but with glass I feel like they have transparencies, the light hits them in a certain way, so there is so much more you can do with it.
Yeah. And good for you for using glass, because it's definitely a tricky medium, whether you're drawing it or photographing it or adding light flares in this case. It's challenging, and I think you do it very well.
Oh, thank you. And as you can see, I have such a collection of weird objects. So yeah, it's like I'm just trying to make use of everything I have in my collection, all my insects and butterflies.
Do you ever do any sort of behind the scenes on your Instagram or anything?
Sometimes. Maybe I should think about doing it more often, especially with like this type of imagery that feels so intricate, and like people are sometimes curious how I set up the scene, like how was the lighting. So I think it could be a cool idea for people to get started with their own, you know, artistic practice and incorporating my ideas into the work they do. So definitely. I will think about it.
Yeah, I think even just seeing the collection of items that you have would be so intriguing for people. All the little insects and all the glasses and the way you put the flowers inside the glass. I know I would eat that up. I'd be like, wow, this is so awesome.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see. What else can we do? I think we can. I really love this butterfly over here. I don't have anything. So all these insects are dead. They are not alive, of course. Um, so I don't have a footage, an actual footage of this moving. So let's see how we can fake that. We have this liquefy effect here. We have the same stuff in Photoshop, so I'm just gonna drag this on the actual image because this is my base image, and see how we can use this effect to kind of mimic that this butterfly is, slightly moving. All right, so which option should I use? Okay, maybe I will use this. I don't know, I'm experimenting a little bit. So to make your brush size bigger, you have this setting over here. So I want this, okay, much bigger. All right, so, oops, I moved this. So again, we can set keyframes for how this will actually move. So I'm gonna use this distortion percentage, and let's see. So at this point in time, I want to use this. Okay, hopefully it works. It's my first time doing it.
And we're seeing it live.
Yeah. Let's see. Don't make me anxious, Anna. All right, so now maybe decrease it. Let's see. Is it visible or not? It's slowly moving, so that's one thing that you have to watch for with After Effects. It's like, oh yeah, it's there. Okay, so it's working. I don't know if you see it, but it's like the wing is kind of somewhat moving. It's like,
oh yeah,
itself up. Yeah. So you see?
Yeah, you can definitely see it when you zoom in on it.
Yeah. So I think I need my brush to be a bit bigger. So we have the entire area kind of affected. Let's see. Right, let's play it again. And this will, again, probably is not gonna, change too much the overall scene, but it's just gonna be one of those elements that, have life. And when you look at the entire picture, you feel like, oh, things are moving here.
Yeah.
Look at this. Like if you just look at this wing.
Oh yeah.
So if we were to animate the entire duration of our timeline, that will be, of course, much more visible. Let me just, copy this. Let's try to do equal intervals. And this is one of the ways how I'm sometimes testing effects. Like I'm just trying to see, oh, on a small portion, if this makes sense, quickly copying the keyframes to see like if it makes sense for the entire duration, and then I get into like finessing everything and maybe making the other wing. If it doesn't make sense, I will not spend time on, making the entire butterfly move.
Right.
So you see, like right now, if we are playing back the footage, it's like moving up and down somewhat.
Yeah. It looks like it's breathing. It's kind of cool.
Exactly. So if you want, we can do the other wing, and maybe it will be, it will make more sense, this effect. So let's
do it.
So I'm going to use the same keyframes for this. So I'm going to paint the same way. All right, let's see. And sometimes these effects, maybe they are too much. So if you feel like this doesn't look realistic enough, maybe you need to tweak your values and maybe make them visible just slightly. So then, the entire effect looks a bit more organic. So let's see, it's playing back. Oh, that's nice. I really love it. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of looking like it's breathing, as you said, Anna.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So this is again like just one small trick to make your stuff move. It doesn't have to be necessarily the stuff that you will put in your final piece, but like when you think about planning your cinemagraphs and you don't know how to, make a dead butterfly move, you have the solution. Okay, let me zoom out and see. Yeah, look at that.
Wow.
And this was done on the image layer, so there is no footage whatsoever. It's just your still image that you have, and then you just apply this effect to it. So
Yeah.
look at that. And
It's
with the
cool.
light sweep we have, I think it's really nice.
Yeah,
Why not?
I feel like the light sweep matches really well with the way you did the butterfly wings. And even though the wings aren't necessarily flapping, it just looks like the butterfly is just kind of
Yeah.
slightly fluttering.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we cannot make the wings flap because, but
Yeah, it looks
but
really good.
to some extent, yeah.
I think it gives the effect enough where you wouldn't need to. I think it's there, it's subtle, as we've been saying this whole time. That's kind of key, and it looks really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so we have more butterflies. Let's see what else we can do. Let's see what other effects we have right here. So flapping the wings, maybe we can make that happen. Let's see. So I know After Effects has this collection of CC effects. Okay, maybe Bandit or Bender might work for our wings because we try to bend somehow the image. So let's try it. Okay, maybe I will do another layer for this one just because it feels like we have to manipulate it. Let's see here, bend, butterfly. All right, so I don't know, let's try one of these. Oops, not there. Okay, so I don't know, let's try with this one right here. Feels like the wings can be bent. Yeah. I don't know, let's try to do like a mask. Okay, I will mask this wing. Let's just try to see how we can experiment with these effects. We have the pen tool again. We can, make the shape of this wing. And let's see, what's this effect doing? Oh, okay, cool. It feels like it's moving downwards.
Oh, yeah.
Let's animate it and have a better look at it. Looks promising. So yeah, I want to animate the amount and we have different styles. All right, interesting. All right, let's just stick to the amount for now and then we can animate other settings over there. So I'm just gonna do, okay, let's see. So the first keyframe it's at 63, so it's bending downwards, and this one it's bending upwards somewhat. So let's see. Look at that. Oh my God. This is so...
You're bringing butterflies back to life.
Oh my God. You see it as well, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm not going crazy over here, right? Oh my God, look how smooth it is. All right, I think we need to adjust the mask just a little bit because I see it's breaking at the edge. So maybe just feather it a little bit, maybe 10%. Okay, let's see. Maybe more. I mean, it's fine even the way it is because like, I think it's kind of faking motion blur when things kind of look blurry and then you kind of see the trace of things moving. It's like, you see over here, it's like kind of leaving trace of the edge. Which I think it's cool. I don't know. I like weird stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, let's see from afar. Oh wow, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna copy this and let's see. Just place back. Takes a while. Patience. Oh yeah, beautiful. So let's see, now it's almost there.
Yeah, looking cool.
Yeah, and I think we can even exaggerate the movement even more. Like at the beginning, like I feel it can bend a bit more, but
Wow.
it's almost there. It feels like it's flapping the
Ah,
wings, and it's such a cool way. I'm so excited. I cannot believe it. Like I really want to finish this piece and like look at it. It's like even visible from afar. Like if you look at the overall scene, you can still see it. So it's like, you know,
wow.
beautiful.
That's amazing. I'm speechless. It's so cool.
Yeah, we discovered together a cool effect. So yay.
Yay.
Such a productive session, right?
Yeah, I know. I love making new discoveries like that.
Yeah, right. So I try to bend it a bit more, like 111. I think, there is some limit to what this effect can do. Of course, you cannot really, bend it so much because I feel like it's copying the pixels around and somewhat moving them. So I think it's kind of destructive, but I think it works really well. Like, look at this. Like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like probably I wouldn't have been able to capture this like in camera, like with a real butterfly. Probably the butterfly
Yeah.
would have flown everywhere or
Yeah,
something like that.
exactly.
So, yay.
Ah, I love it. I'm so glad we were able to do that.
Yeah, so this is another way of, how you can use After Effects to your advantage. Just try to be smart about it. Experiment with the effects we have right here. There are so many. Really like bubbles, drizzle, hair. I don't know. I'm so curious about what every single one of these does. And starburst. I don't know. Maybe a lot of
Ooh.
stars.
Maybe we should
So,
play with some of them after the artist spotlight.
yeah, definitely. Sure. And probably I should do the other wing as well. So let's see, maybe I should do another layer.
Someone in the chat is mentioning something about wiggle expression. Do you know what that means?
I haven't worked that much with expressions. Yeah, basically you can use expressions to animate some of the properties over here in a way that feels more controlled, but I'm not so comfortable using them. I think I still have a lot to learn in After Effects, so I'm like relying a lot on the presets we have right here and try to see how they can work with the type of work I do. But definitely for animators, that's such a cool way of controlling everything you do on the timeline.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the possibilities are really endless in all of the Adobe programs. There's always a million ways to try new things.
Exactly. So let's see the other wing.
It is almost time for the artist spotlight. So as you work on that, we'll start to transition into that and check out someone's portfolio today.
Oh, that's so exciting. I'm curious
Yeah.
to see who is our artist today.
Yeah.
Okay, oops, created another point. I mean, again, with the masking, you don't have to be so precise. You can always go back. But I feel like these wings have to be a bit more, defined, especially since we want to bend them. So that's why I'm like taking my time with it. Let's see, almost there.
All right. So while you work on that, if you want to continue tweaking it, I'm going to share my screen and we can take a look at this portfolio.
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right. So we have Franck. And if you're in the chat, if you could let us know how to say your last name, hopefully we're pronouncing your first name correctly. Looks like you are from Canada with some absolutely beautiful work, some really cool effects over here. I love this like kind of spray dispersion effect that you have. That is amazing.
It looks so great. I love it.
Yeah, really awesome. Like very animated portfolio here. Oh, and the text is so cool.
It feels so dynamic. Like
It
everything
really does.
has so much action to it. And a lot of texture as well.
Yeah. Oh, look at this one. I love that with
So
Buddha,
cool.
and it has like such a powerful spiritual vibe. And we got some butterflies in here. Seems to be a common theme today.
It looks like, yeah. Everyone loves butterflies.
Yeah, myself included. They always appear in my work, and I'm not really sure why or where it comes from, but I guess butterflies are kind of like a mystical, magical creature.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think in Greek they symbolize the soul or something like that. So yeah, like rebirth is like our soul, that we are so, full of life, and everything, that we do, it's related to our heart and our soul and our spirit.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so good to know. Wow, this is cool. Looks like this is from the Daily Creative Challenge in Photoshop back in May. For any of you watching, those are definitely fun to do, the creative challenges, and learn some new techniques. This is so cool. Play with perspective. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely loving this. You guys should go check out this portfolio on Behance. Oh, surreal portrait. That's really cool.
That's so cool how the hands were blended with the figure.
Yeah, I always love those double exposure images. They're really powerful and kind of make you stop and think. Ooh, invisible objects. That's a fun one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder how he did that, if it was just cloning all of the body out, or if there's like a technique for it. Guess I'll have to start watching the creative challenges too.
That's such a cool way for a cinemagraph as well. I feel like if someone is into this kind of, imagery, I think it's a nice way to try to find a way to do it like in Photoshop or After Effects, but do it in a way that, the person moves, and then you still have the, transparency with the floating arms and legs.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be cool if the body like came zoomed in and out as if he was like turning invisible.
Yeah.
Oh, I got another one. That's so cool. I just finally watched the new animated Spider-Man and how he goes invisible. Oh my God, that movie just blew my mind. So that's immediately what I think of with this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look at the pants.
I know. I love that. It's like they're in perfect form. Yeah, everything is still hard, as if the body just disappeared.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
I mean, if we can do so many things in After Effects, why not?
I know. Why can't we do it in real life?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love that. Blinging up the text. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah. So cool.
Ah, there's Jesus. And making some custom currency. That's really awesome.
Interesting. Feels like it's a lot of work to doing something like that.
Yeah. Oh, this is great for people that are doing like e-commerce or selling t-shirts or something. This makes it look really nice and easy and with a fresh background.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's cool.
Another butterfly.
Yeah, butterfly. Showing up everywhere.
Cool expression.
Yeah.
On the sketch.
Yeah, I really like the face with kind of the lip going up. Amazing stuff.
Oh, look at this.
Ah.
This reminds me of your San Francisco bridge you did,
Oh
like
yeah.
from the airplane view. Oh my God, I
Yeah.
loved that so much. When I saw it, I was like, wow, it looks
Oh.
so real. I was like, oh my God, I wish I could see that on the airplane, but oh
Could
my
you
God.
imagine? That would be
Yeah.
so cool.
But you did such a great job with it, and I feel like
Oh,
this one is so successful as well.
yeah, I
The
agree.
real.
I always love the view from an airplane window. I know it's kind of cliche and a lot of people have done it, but I think it's just so magical. I mean, what are you seeing when you look out the airplane window and you start to imagine things? You start to daydream on long flights. And I think it's cool to see what someone would imagine is out there.
Yeah, that's so true. Wow. Seeing the birds, like, wow, that would be
Yeah.
amazing to see that
Yeah.
above the clouds.
I want to check out this one. Oh, another Photoshop creative challenge. So I really like that he's experimenting and trying out these different styles and techniques. I think it expands yourself as an artist and it gives you a broader range of skills. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that's admirable that he's doing all these trying things out because I think it's very easy to get stuck in one style. I know I have hit a rut with some things in my work. And so I think being able to experiment is always a good way to refresh and reboot.
Yeah, that's so true. And the more you're practicing it, the more you feel like you can, handle any type of situation, and you feel like, oh, I already know this. Maybe I want to learn something new. And, the wider your practice gets, and you feel like you are, such a great artist just because you know all
Yeah,
these techniques, and you never know when you need, a specific technique to make your big idea come true. So,
exactly. I love this. This is so powerful.
yeah.
Wow. Very moving image.
I don't know if the flag was painted on her face or if it was like added like an overlay, but it looks super realistic.
Yeah, it like perfectly forms to her
Yeah.
face and hits all the right curves and everything. It looks great.
Oh, I love this engraved.
That's so
Perfect.
cool.
I love everything vintage, so when I see these kind of things,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so sweet.
Oh, wow. Oh, cute little
Oh,
decorations.
sweetheart. So
Oh,
cute. Look at her. Such a cool
oh
hand. Oh my
yeah.
God. Fashionable. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Oh
cool.
yeah, another good one. Yeah. I
Yes.
think I think Frank is really good with expressions. I really love how he incorporates, weird expressions and then, doing this compositing.
I agree. And such a great job with the shadows in here and making it feel like her head's really popping off. I think that's key with this piece.
Exactly. Wow. Well done.
Yeah, well done for sure. Oh, retro photography. That's great.
Yeah, that's always a good idea, right? Everyone
Yeah.
loves something retro.
Yep. Let's see. We got another creative challenge here.
Oh wow, look at that. Love
Wow.
love the sky. So
Yeah.
orange.
Yeah. Some HDR photo tuning. Oh, that's cool. Photo merge. Oh, wow.
Wow. That's actually really good.
Yeah. So
Looks so
taking,
seamless, yeah.
yeah. I never even thought to do that, to just take a ton of photos like that and make a really artsy panorama.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do it, but I always wanted to try it, but I never had an opportunity to, like capture something that's worth the while doing it, like
Yeah.
click all those photos. So I need like something that looks really beautiful, like a sunset or something like that, or, you know,
Right. Oh, this is cool. I love the symbols in the mountains.
yeah, wow.
It's cool. Paint effects. Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
wow, look at that.
Yeah.
That's very successful.
Yeah, it really
It
is
doesn't
because
look cheesy. It's just like it fits so well, the owl.
yeah, exactly. I feel like sometimes some of the effects they just don't quite work and I feel like this worked perfectly.
Especially with the feathers around the
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, and even like the background, the way the trees look and the snow, very successful.
Definitely fitting for Canada.
Yeah. Some camera raw. These are beautiful. Great job, Frank. We absolutely love your portfolio. Really love your ability to experiment and have fun and push the boundaries and try some new things. Ooh, wow. Love that. I'm a sucker for astronauts and those colors.
Yes,
Might have to come
galaxies and
back and save
cosmos.
that.
Yeah. The moon, of course.
Wow. That's cool. Awesome. Ooh, those
Oh,
are,
yeah.
yeah, with some reflections.
Oh, look at this. Oh my God, so
Oh, little
cute.
Godzilla baby.
Yeah, he's taking over the city.
Yeah.
I'm coming
Oh.
for you. Watch out.
I love it. Ah, great
Cute.
work. Thank you so much for sharing your portfolio with us, Frank. We love it. So beautiful. Gabriela, if you want to share your screen again and we can get back into finishing up in After Effects.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's do it. All right, so let's see what else we can animate with our scene right here. We still have some butterflies, and I think I have, yeah, I have this layer over here. And I think it's this butterfly over here. Let's see. Yes, it is. Let's see how we can incorporate that as well. It's actual footage, so let's try and see if it makes sense to have this big one right here. I feel like it's such a focal point, so I'm not sure if we want it here, but let's just try and see if it's not overtaking the vibe of the whole scene. All right, so again, the pen tool.
The beloved tool.
Yeah. Just gonna draw like a very loose shape, and we can see right away that the layers do not align, so I'm just gonna grab the layer and move it. Let's see if we can put it in the same position. And again, with this, if you feel like, oh, I cannot see what's underneath, so we always have opacity here. So if we go into the layer, we can find it over here. We can just decrease it a little bit and see, you know, where are the outlines, so we can place our, you know, object much easier. And one thing that I see is that, you know, the framing in camera was done differently than the actual image, just because, you know, shooting video, it's the format, it's a bit more long. It's like 16:9, so you have like a much longer image, whereas photographically speaking, you have like the image is a bit more square, so the ratios are different, so you get to see different areas of the image. So I think we'll have to find a way of how we can make that work. Maybe increase the scale so that the edge will not show up on our image, and maybe move this upwards. Let's see. This is the wing from the still image, so, you know, probably we'll have to scale this up a little bit more to compensate for that. So that's why I'm saying sometimes, you know, you want to do things, you know, maybe they don't actually work, so don't get caught in these, you know, small details. Let's see. All right, maybe I'm just gonna cover it like this, maybe even bigger. I don't know, if I'm making bigger, maybe it's gonna be too giant. It's like a
Huge
giant, I mean,
butterfly.
it was huge. I mean, in comparison with everything else, oh my God, it was so huge. And so let's see.
Yeah.
And I see this leaf over here, and maybe we can use this as reference point. Okay, so almost there. And maybe now it feels like it's too big, so maybe decreasing it. 2%. Okay, I think that's correct. And you know, like I cannot do anything about this right here. Like if I scale it up, it doesn't really work. So one thing that you can do, you can crop your composition. So that will not include, you know, this area. So you can crop at this level. So then you will get that fix. But before we get to that, let's see if the whole, you know, butterfly over here moving makes sense or not. So let's see the mask. Again, we will feather it just a bit. And I feel like it's a bit too light. That's because we didn't apply any color correction to it. So I'm just gonna copy these from the previous layer. And because everything was shot at the same time, I don't worry too much about, adjusting this too much, just because like, oh, maybe this is a bit too bright. So then I can just go over here and adjust the exposure, just trying to make everything match a bit more. Let's see. And of course, this part of the leaf looks like it's, it's the light hitting it. So the colors are like, it's kind of yellow and white, and over here it's green. And like in the actual image, the butterfly was covering the wing, the leaf, sorry. And here, just because this butterfly moves, probably it just moved upwards. Let's see, let's play the footage and see. And again, these are some like, creative challenges that you have to fix if you are really committed to, that idea. So maybe you can find a creative solution to it. So just don't give up too early. Maybe try a couple of things, and if they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. So
Yeah.
let's see. Because with moving pixels and moving objects, it's always hard to anticipate how, your lighting conditions might affect everything around. So it's not like with a still photograph where you can control absolutely every element and then maybe fix it in Photoshop or Lightroom. With moving stuff, it's a bit much harder. So that's why it's always a good idea to maybe test beforehand, or, maybe just wing it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
So is this a real butterfly, or it almost looks like it's paper or something?
No, it was real, yeah. Just
Wow.
very huge. It was like about this size, like really huge one. And I still have it.
It's so awesome.
And it looks like paper just because the light was coming from behind, so it's backlit, so it's like the wings look a bit more like transparent.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah. Okay, so I kind of like it. Let's see. It's almost there. Like over here, I can still see this junction. Oh, look at that. Okay, I like it. So it feels like it's blending a bit more with the green that we had over here. So the color difference is not so abrupt anymore. So maybe now we can focus on this area. Let's see. Don't be afraid of revealing maybe too much. Maybe you can start with like maybe your mask, it's much wider than you need, and maybe from there you can see if you need to adjust it in any way, because we have to blend some elements here that were like really not moving, and then this huge butterfly moving everything around it. So you never know how, like the Spanish moss probably will move as well. Let's have a look. Let's see. Yeah, it's not actually moving. I think it's just the leaf over here that's moving a bit.
Yeah, the lighting on the Spanish moss is really pretty with the video clip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe I should reveal more then. Feel like, we can
We only
make
have
this.
a few more minutes left here, so if you guys have any questions for Gabriela about her process or anything you've wanted to know, feel free to ask in the chat.
Yeah. That's a perfect opportunity to get the last things done over here. Let's
I can't
see.
believe our day 2 is already coming to an end.
Yeah,
So
right. So
sad.
crazy. We are just getting used to it, right?
I know. Our nerves are settled. We're getting into the flow of things. Now it's
Exactly.
over.
Okay, look at this. I think it's coming together very nicely. I like it. I think this is blending nicely over here. Maybe here we can still fix it somewhat. But overall, I think it's not a bad way of doing it, especially since this was cropped. So, we still have some hope for this clip here. So I don't give up on it just yet. It just feels like it's so beautiful, and the light. And I think here we can also apply like lens flare or some sort of light rays effect that's gonna make it seem that's belonging together with the other elements even more. And let me see, maybe I think right now it's a bit too bright. Let me see, let me go back in here. I really like this faded film effect that we have in the Lumetri panel. I think it's just making things look a bit more smooth when you apply
Yeah.
it.
I was gonna say it definitely seems like it needs to be faded a little bit because the
Yeah,
rest of the image kind of has this like soft blur.
exactly. And with this light over here, I think it's like casting that soft, reflections everywhere. So that's why we need to compensate with this. And I think right now it doesn't look too bad. I feel like it's coming together. Look, this doesn't bother me that much anymore.
Mm-mm.
And of course, we can go back and tweak it even more. But that's such a great way of, incorporating all this footage I shot. Okay, let's see the light effect. Really, I'm excited about light effects.
Me
It's never
too.
not enough. It's like, let me put another one. Okay, light rays. Okay, so where is the point? Okay, the point is over here. Oh, you see? Wow. And with these light rays, because I didn't had the opportunity to talk too much about it, it's really interesting because it's basically taking, I will zoom in, it's taking this entire area and somewhat it's creating the light source. So the light source is the selection area that we have right here, and from that the light it's created. So you can have the colors to be complementary to this as much as possible, just because it's the same source. So that's really great because the light it's important to have the color of the entire scene. So right here we have like some yellows, just because the effect itself reads all these levels of colors, so then it's manufacturing this light effect based on that. So it's very realistic in a sense, just because it has all this variation of color. So it's just really a good way to look at this. Like right here,
Oh,
there are
wow.
so many colors. It's not just white, when you put just like a light source, um, just a white source of light, sorry, then it looks fake. But with this, I feel like it's incorporating the whole vibe of the colors we have in the selection area, and it's just making things look, better. Look at this.
Yeah.
And it moves. You don't have
Oh,
necessarily to animate it. As the object moves, then the light moves. So it's mimicking light rays really nicely. That's why probably the name. So look at this. Like, I didn't animate it, but it moves as the wings move. So if I'm playing back, you will see like the point, it's static, it doesn't move from here, but then look at that.
that
See?
is beautiful. It looks so natural.
Exactly. So I think that's a very cool way to, uh, bring, the entire elements we have here more together, especially since we have the same source of light over here. So maybe, this makes sense. I'll just move this endpoint.
Yeah.
Look at that. And if we were to crop this, we wouldn't see this difference here in terms of size. And then let's just look at the entire scene and see. Look at that.
Ah, beautiful. I'm loving it. I think you did such a great job today and really showed everyone some unique techniques that they can use in After Effects. And you pushed the boundaries of doing something that we don't often see.
Oh,
So
thank you. I'm so
I'm
happy that I could do it with you
yeah.
and with our audience. And, this piece came together so nicely. We still have to work a bit on the looping that we have right here. But, with all the layers we have, it's going to take a bit more work. But overall, I think everyone can get a feeling of what I was trying to achieve here. And there are so many possibilities of how you can do this on your own. So I
Yeah.
hope everyone got inspired.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I know I'm super inspired by this, and I'm feeling like I want to hop into After Effects now for the first time and experiment.
Yay!
So, thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to catch the replay if you missed anything and watch yesterday's replay. And it was a pleasure being here with all of you. And Gabriela, thank you so much for everything. It was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you, Adobe, and our lovely audience. And such an honor to be here and get creative with Adobe Cloud.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you all soon. Take care.